we have no news today. We're gonna jump right into our movie, which is
Ooh,
Park Chan Wook. Gosh, I should have done some research before I started this. Uh,
probably.
the
That would be really
2016 film
helpful.
The Handmaiden by Park
Yes.
Chan Wook, and he has done Old Boy and Lady Vengeance. I have
Um,
not seen any of those. Have you guys seen those
no, but I've been
movies?
No.
wanting to see them.
Yes. I really want to watch Old Boy
Same.
because I know what happens.
Oh,
Because I spoiled it for myself because I used to do
oh,
that. Yeah, but
my friend was that.
knowing the plot developments in that movie kind of like was like, oh, when stuff happened in The Handmaidens, like, this guy does his Shyamalan like twists and whatnot,
Um,
twists and turns. Yeah,
gotcha.
but yeah, I really wanted to pick this movie because I haven't had anyone to talk about this movie with. This is like
Aw.
the most
Oh,
talked about movie in my circles. But it has been like, it is known, it is a very popular movie in terms of like foreign language films, and I really wanted to see what you guys would think of it, considering it is kind of off the wall to whatever we get here in America. It is very Korean art house cinema type beat, kind of like Parasite, which we all like.
true.
So let's just go into like our thoughts. I don't want to start. Who wants to start? I'm
I
scared.
mean,
Someone's gonna say they don't like it. Just go.
I
Just
mean,
Well,
I
do
could
it.
start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think just going into it, I had no idea what it was about, and I also had never heard of it before, so I was like, okay, cool. And this was also it's only my third Korean movie that I've seen actually, and the other two were by Bong Joon-ho, so I didn't really know what to expect from this director too. Um, and it's funny too because I keep like unexpectedly watching films that are about like lesbian love stories, low key, and like I don't really mean to, and it's just interesting because it just keeps popping up, and so this reminded me a lot of like The Favorite and Portrait of a Lady on Fire and those elements of it too. And I think just overall it turned out to be. I was kind of nervous because I wasn't sure what the historical context was, or if that even mattered with themes were going to turn out to be and stuff too. So I wasn't sure if this was going to be like a gross, like super patriarchal movie about like some, I don't know, something that I wasn't sure about. But it turned out to be like a really like feminist movie that I just really adored in the end. And yes, it was just such a fun watch for me too. And I think it was definitely like probably in my top movies that I would recommend to people at this point too.
Cool, cool. But yeah,
solid.
especially from a male director, it's a very feminist, like female empowerment type of movie, and that's really,
Mm-hmm.
really well
True.
done. Emma,
True.
do you want to give us your thoughts?
Sure. I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. Um, the story was really interesting. I love the way it was structured, and the sets were so pretty, and
Yeah.
the landscaping wherever they filmed like the outdoors and stuff in multiple different like even like the gardens were just so beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a nice movie to watch. But yeah, I don't know. I pretty much really liked it. I was confused at first. The only thing I was kind of like, what? Was I didn't know when it was set, and for some reason that was really like blocking my brain because I couldn't
Oh, I
figure out
see.
what time
Yeah.
period this was in. But then I looked
Mm-hmm.
it up halfway through and I went, oh, okay, cool. And then I reset and that was good. But I kept jumping back and forth between saying, oh, this is modern. No, it isn't. Why would you think that? And then going, oh, it's like at this time. No, it's definitely not at that time. What are you
Wait,
thinking?
what was the time period? I never
It
actually
was,
looked it up.
1930s, right?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
1930s.
Yeah, it's during Japanese imperialism.
Yes.
Like,
I
And
see.
then that added a lot more to it for me. And I was
Mm.
like, wow, okay, cool. This is great. I love this. So, yeah, I really liked it a lot. Thank you for picking it. I'm really
Yeah.
happy I've seen it.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, of course, I really like the movie. It's why I recommended it, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about. But I have problems with it, but we'll get into that later, of course. But one of my favorite things is the story, which is one of the like key points I
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to talk about. Because the story, it's very unique because it's structured on top of itself, if that makes any
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yes.
It it goes back to previous events with like new context, and I think that
Hmm.
makes it really interesting. And it made a rewatch very interesting too because it's like you already
Yeah.
know the context
Oh,
of what's
that's
happening.
cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was neat. but it pulls off this thing that I like to call like a hat on a hat. So it's like you're putting a twist on top of a twist, which is kind of risky at first.
Yeah.
In like comedy, you don't want to put like another joke on top of a joke because sometimes it ruins the first joke.
True.
But I felt like this double hat structure worked really well because the two twists kind of align with the characters, and they're very character revealing, and I found that extremely interesting. Can I get your guys' initial reactions to the twist? Did you guys expect something
What are the two twists in your opinion?
The two twists.
I'm confused.
The two twists for me are spoilers for The Handmaiden, but like if
I feel like you're already
you should already know that we spoil every movie we talk about. But the first one would be Hideko being part, like you think she set up Suki, and the second one would be that they were both actually together at that point already, and those are my two twists.
Oh, fun. Yes. Okay.
Fun. Great fun.
No. Well, I feel like the first twist I kind of saw coming more so than the second one. I was kind of like, yeah, I kind of anticipated her being like knowing, I don't know, that she was kind of in on it, but I didn't know like exactly what. But then the second part, when they were both doing that, yeah, I was so shocked and I was so happy. I just screamed at my like computer screen, yes, because I was so excited for the characters and for like it was so cool. But yeah, I think that I don't know. It just really shocked me the second time. That's the second twist a lot more.
For me, it's actually the opposite for me. I did not expect the first twist because, like, in my head, I was thinking, like, oh, this is going to feel like another Portrait of a Lady on Fire kind of scenario. So I was assuming that they would just kind of end up running away or something so that they could be together. So the first twist, when it happened, I was so confused because I was like, wait, are they not getting into, like, their act of the film? But then I checked and it had only been, like, an hour of the film, too.
Yeah, it's only like an hour.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like halfway through the entire film too, so I was like so confused. And then I saw it and I was like, wait a second, this is like way more to look at now. So the first one was, like, definitely shocked me more, but then the second one, it was more of like a okay, this feels more comforting to like move into like how they're actually going to go through with things. But I also didn't really know how it was going to play out after finding that out. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. So.
I know, there's so many like layers to the story, which I love. It kind of felt like a novel in a way, like you were just watching a novel, and it feels like a novel. I know, it reminded me, just the structure was so unique, and I don't think I've seen many films that are similar, not like in the general structure, but just that it doesn't feel the way that The Handmaiden did. It just really, it felt like I was kind of like reading a novel while watching it, but it wasn't, and it was wonderful. I really liked that.
Yeah, I'm glad that they added the.
That's cool.
I like that they added. I like that they added the twist too, because it feels like it felt like if they hadn't put those in, it would have just felt like kind of an average movie. Like, oh, okay, this is like about not a lot of. It's not about a lot more complicated things. It's just about like, oh, this is a different set of like lovers that are trying to run away from something that they've already been set up. But I think the twist just adds so much, like you said, it adds like a lot of layers to it, and I think the layers too, I think they were just so cleanly done that you can really tell the difference between all of them too in their different sections as well. And so I like that they also added in like the part 1, part 2, and part 3 to separate them as well too, because you just feel like you actually know what's going on versus, kind of trying to add in all these different contexts too.
For sure. Yeah. And I liked part 2 the most. That was very fun.
Yeah, part 2 was my favorite part as well. I was gonna bring up the parts because the 3 parts aspect, you kind of forget about it until part 2 comes up.
Yes.
That's
it's so good.
That's when you realize like, oh wait, yeah, there's like that was only the first like part of this movie. Like there's so much more that we don't know about. So I would actually have to go with the first twist being more surprising to me, because I just thought it was a pretty complicated story already, because they had to trick a woman into signing off her inheritance and then throwing her into a mental prison, but at the same time like escape like this super controlling uncle. So I thought there was already like a lot of layers that they could have played around with, but just adding that second one, just like that's when I was really like it put a smile on my face because I'm like, oh, now this movie is like really like going for like masterpiece type of storytelling, and the part like splitting it up like that really helped out because usually when films do that, it's just like whatever. But
Yeah,
this
it
one I
kind of
really
feels
felt
like
felt true to itself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, part 2 is a banger.
It's so good. It's so the pacing is completely different from the other two parts, and it's just so fast, and like finding out all the history with the characters is really cool. I liked that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It was very
Also,
fun to watch.
For a split second too, when they're leaving her at the mental health hospital too, and they're saying like, oh, she thinks that she's still like a handmaid she thinks that she's still a Korean handmaiden or whatever. Too, like, I thought this was gonna turn into like, oh, this is actually a mental health patient, and we're like watching her like hallucinations or something like that. But I'm glad that that wasn't.
Oh, like
Like
I don't want to spoil what movie.
I almost
Wait,
spoke out loud.
Really?
Yeah, like Great
Is
Gatsby.
that really how the
movie.
Great Gatsby?
The movie, not the book. I don't think the book is like that.
The
Wait,
Baz
actually,
Luhrmann movie? Which movie? There's two
The-
movies.
the newer one.
Oh, no,
Actually,
is it a
no, the book
spoiler?
is like that.
Oh, have you not seen The Great Gatsby?
Oh, I have.
I've only seen the new movie. I've not read the book.
I have.
read the
I just
book.
can't
I can't
remember.
I can't
What?
say
How
what
is-
that plot reminds me of because by saying it, it will spoil whatever movie I'm
Oh,
talking about. So,
that is true. You make a good argument.
I guess I'll just like sneakily hint it's also a Leonardo DiCaprio movie that I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Great, I feel like I've just given it away.
No, I know
But
what you're talking
Leo's been in a lot of movies. If you,
about. He has. You can assume that it's one.
yeah,
It's not.
It's Django Unchained, guys. It's
Oh my god, you just spoiled Django Unchained.
I'm sorry,
Oh
but
my
you know,
God.
Tarantino has a lot of surprises in his movies.
It's not Django Unchained, by the way. Just if you
Anyone
didn't
really
get the
scared?
sarcasm.
Some people got really scared. People who haven't seen Django Unchained.
I know, they were like,
Oh
dang
my
it.
god.
Oh my god. Yep. Anyways.
But back to part 2. I think what separates it from the other parts is that it kind of becomes a character study than like a
Yes.
straight plot con type of film
Mm-hmm.
because it really focuses on Lady Hideko. God, I'm gonna mispronounce names all day, but
I
it's
know, I
whatever.
feel so bad, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the reason why I thought the first twist worked so well for me is because I really bought her like naivety. Is that a word?
Oh,
Like she
naive.
felt really like naive to me because that kind of character, like being stuck inside a home, you would expect them to just like not have a lot of like power and knowledge to them to the outside world.
Gotcha, yeah.
I didn't want to bring up Call Me by Your Name, but she was kind of like the Elio in the story to me at first because it's like she doesn't really know what she's doing, but you know she's just like being put through the motions that other people are given to her. So like that second part, exploring her childhood and what's like
So cool.
causing like what makes
Really
her who
cool.
she really is was really interesting to me.
It was so cool. I loved that. That's when my
I loved it
interest
too.
was like fully into the movie. Like at first it was, it was there. I was, enjoying it. But then once the second part came around, I was like, oh my god, yes. And then everything, I was so invested. And even like in the third part also because it already got me hooked. But it was just so cool. It added so much context that I didn't understand. And I loved when watching the other parts too, hearing what they had said in the first part, but now in different contexts, and you're like, oh, so that's where
Yeah.
she got that word from. Oh, that's where she got the phrase from. Oh, that's why she thinks this, and it's really cool.
I love that. I think the one that hit me the most was when she's laughing in front of the mental health hospital when she's like letting her go.
Oh,
like
yeah.
when she's
Oh,
laughing
that's
because
so
then
good.
it's suddenly like I know. I was like, that's amazing because I
know.
suddenly feel so like, oh, I'm in on this like inside joke.
I know, it makes you feel like you're in on it with them, and you're just like, ooh,
Yeah.
we're in this together, guys.
You're laughing because like the first time you see the laugh, you're like, oh no, I hate her. But
I
the second
know.
time you're laughing as well, which is really well
know.
done.
And
gosh.
like even there was like small things that I noticed too, like when she was talking about, oh, it's like pulling away from fire, and then earlier the guy had said that, And then another
Mhm.
thing he had said was like, I can't remember, but I know there was a lot of things like that I was noticing, which was so fun, and it made me feel like I was in on a big secret, even though I was just watching a movie. It was so interactive, and I loved that so much. It was so fun.
I love that.
I like the character of the Count, the fake Count.
Yeah.
His presence in the first two parts was very interesting because he acted as like the schemer for both parts. Like he would be telling the other ones what to say. And it was cool seeing him in that kind of role. And then he transitions to like more of a villain role in part 3. So I thought it was also a very interesting inclusion of like a character to like guide the two parts like that. And you could find like similarities. Because it's really a con on a con, which is really
they
really
out-conned the con man.
They out-conned the con man.
I love that.
That's like how you were saying that like certain lines are like taken from other parts of the movie. Like that line where I think Hideko, she says, "What does a crook know about love?" And then I believe Suki says it in the beginning too, but that's like not even connected too. That's just like both of them thinking it at different times of the story too. So I just thought that was so interesting too because they both feel that way.
I know, it was really, there's just so many little hidden things. I think, honestly, I don't think that's true, because I really loved it on the first watch. I was gonna say I think I would enjoy it more on the second watch, but I really liked it, so I don't think that's true. I think I would find more to like from it on a second watch, but it was really cool.
I guess as a second watcher, I mean, it is still great. It's still amazing. I still love the movie. But I think it's just like you can't beat the first time watching that movie, I think. Because it's such a twisty, turny type of movie. And those are kind of the best when you don't know the twisty, turny parts.
Sometimes.
That's kind of how I felt about Parasite. Because
I was
the
gonna
first
bring up
time
Parasite.
watching it. Yeah, because the first time watching it, you have no idea what it's about. Because like nothing in the trailers tell you what it's about either, too. And then you just think you know exactly what's going to happen, but even on top of the twists and everything, you like literally have no idea how it's going to turn out. And then the second time around, it's fun if you're watching it with people who haven't seen it, but if you're watching it on your own, it's kind of like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. So,
see, I don't know. I feel like I just enjoy watching it anyways, because but it is way more enjoyable if you're watching it with people who haven't seen it.
With people, to get the
reactions.
relive
it. You can like take their emotions and feel it. It's so fun.
This is definitely a movie I would like. This is why I wanted to recommend it. It's nice to see people's first time reacting. Now I get to relive my first time watching it and being surprised by everything as well. Which is why I love showing people Parasite.
Yeah, same. I agree. I know. I think I've watched it 5 times with different people. And it's just so great. Just feeling their emotions is great. This is definitely one of those movies that I would watch with someone to definitely like relive it. The second twist is so great though. I don't think it was shock. It was more excitement when I found out that they were like actually not being conned. They were the ones doing it, and I was so happy. I was so excited. I was so supportive of them. It felt like they were my friends. And I was like, yes, go. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. It was great.
But I think it was also the build up to that was so well done. Yeah.
It was.
It's because like Hideko wanted to know if like Suki actually loved her. So that's why she was so mad. So that's why it takes the tree scene. Yeah, I was gonna bring up the tree scene later for like favorite scenes, but what a great scene! That's what I would consider that's the second twist for me. That scene would be the other twist.
I agree. When that moment was, oh my god, I was so excited. Not that she was hanging from a tree. After that, I realized that sounds a little weird. But
I think at that point, though, I was still a little bit confused. I was like, wait, so are they teaming up still? Or, like, what's happening? But then afterwards, I think it cleared up for me. And I was like, yes, this is so good.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to reset the conversation. So,
perfect.
It's
not about this. It was a really random thought.
Well, now you've built it up, so you have to say it.
Oh, no, at the wedding, that they were having with the count.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When he handed her the thing, I thought it was a pen, and I didn't get it until I looked it up, and it wasn't a pen. It was the opium.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what? I don't remember. Oh!
Because
I know
he
what
said,
you're talking about.
I'll
Yeah,
give
yeah,
you
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah.
on the wedding day. And then
Mhm.
even when he said that, I was like, no, but he handed her a pen. I just felt like an idiot, but I thought you should all know about that moment that I had.
No, I'm happy I know about this now. That's a great, yeah. I was like, what? What are you talking about? But now I know exactly.
I know.
what you're-
Yeah, I was like, but you handed her a pen. Weirdo. It was
But
just,
oh yeah, it's just opium. That's it.
It's just opium.
Casual.
Just casual
Good old
opium.
opium. Woohoo.
Which I love how it comes back later. That scene.
Yes.
Oh gosh, when we talk about favorite scenes, I'm bringing that. Scene
Oh,
back.
I have so many favorite scenes. This movie is my favorite scene. I don't
No, yeah, because when I gosh, I feel like we should just start talking about favorite scenes, but I just I want to go through all the parts first. But yeah, when thinking about favorite scene, I was like, I don't know what I would choose because there's just so many.
There's so many good scenes in it. It's fantastic. Oh my goodness.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, well, we can all like think about that for a second while we just go through each of the parts. So part 1,
Yes.
like initial thoughts about part 1, just like it was kind of like, oh, it's just one of those stories where a person comes to like another person's house, sort of like Portrait of a Lady on Fire,
I haven't
Parasite.
seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I almost said Spire.
Spire.
So like also like how she's been stuck in that house for a really long time. I was like, oh, JJ chose this because it's a girl stuck in a house and we're all in quarantine right now. So I was like, oh,
I
okay.
did not. That's not why I chose it. But you know what?
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
maybe that's why I chose it. Maybe that's exactly.
We
why I
need
chose
to
it.
watch someone feel our pain. No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good quarantine movie now I think about it. That's a quarantine watch list right there.
Yes.
If you have a big house with a mysterious basement, sure.
Mhm.
I do. No, I don't. I don't.
Also, Mysterious Basement, like Parasite, there's just like too
I
many
know, there is
similarities I
ways-
could draw
Yeah.
with
the
two movies.
peaches. The
The
peaches,
peaches,
the
bro. I was
scene
gonna
with the
say.
peaches.
when I saw the peaches, first I was like, oh, Parasite, and then I was like, wow, those look really good. And then he took a bite of it, and then I was like, you just
It
ruined it.
splashes everywhere.
It
I
was
know.
very
I was
juicy,
so
fully right.
angry. I was like, someone's gonna have to clean that up, you horrible person.
Yeah, she has to clean that. Maybe because she had to clean that up.
I know,
so
but
maybe
still.
that's why.
I was
But
quite
still.
offended.
Oh, you know what I like about that scene though is that or like the drawing scenes is like later on
Yeah.
when you see what they were actually
Yeah.
drawing.
It's like the stupidest drawing of all time.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was so funny.
It was
was
a
so
beautiful
good.
drawing. How dare you?
Yeah, my apologies. It was a work of art.
I want that
would
drawing
want that.
on my
I
wall.
want that drawing. It's probably in some museum somewhere.
Oh yeah. for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the
But the
first part,
Yes.
no, when I kind of at first was a little confused, but I knew that there was twists coming up, so I was more confused because I was like, what's gonna happen? And I was kind of just really waiting for something to happen because I know you had mentioned it was kind of like a big twist type of movie, and I love that. But when I watch big twist type of movies and I know that there's going to be a big twist, that's all I can think about.
Did I mention there was a big twist? I feel bad.
I feel
now.
like
Did
I
say
remember you
so?
saying it, but I don't.
No,
I didn't think
No
about
way.
that.
Either you or
Play the
Ronan
tape.
said it.
Okay,
Either
I'm gonna
you-
re-listen to last week's episode.
But so I was kind of just waiting for something like that to happen. But and then when the first, that's why I think the second twist got me more because I thought there was only gonna be like one big twist,
Mhm.
and then I was gonna feel sad.
It's like
If
when
that's
Marvel
where it was
puts
left
two...
off at, because that would be really depressing. But then the second twist regained all of my love and happiness,
Aw.
and I was very happy again.
It's like when Marvel puts two secret endings at the end of movies.
Ugh.
What,
You
you don't
just
like
really
that?
reference Marvel movies right now? Oh my goodness.
I love this.
Is that our first Marvel mention in this
It
podcast?
is our first Marvel
I
mention.
think so.
Whoa.
Dude,
Marvel
we
movies
made
is
it.
it.
We made it like 7 episodes before we
Oh
talked about a Marvel movie.
my god, has it been 7 episodes?
No, I think it's been 6
6.
or 5. I don't know. If you count
Yay.
my Paprika episode. So, I don't know. But that's like a bonus episode. But anyways, Act 1.
I also thought the snake in Act 1 was real.
Me too. Oh my god.
I thought it was real for like the whole time until she like hit it and broke it, and then I was like, oh.
Wait, you thought so for that whole movie until she broke it? You thought there's just a real snake?
Yeah.
Chilling right
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like it was real when they first showed it, but then when the gate closes, you're like, oh, it's just like a
no. I thought it was
snake.
really. I thought it was a very well.
It never moved.
It was very well trained. Animal actors are crazy these days. I'm just saying.
Oh my god.
But I liked how the uncle used that as like the boundary of knowledge. Like he wouldn't let people go in there. And it's like, oh, he must be protecting like these written books, but they're all just
I know,
like hentai.
and then you find out. That's so crazy.
That was hilarious. It wasn't hilarious.
I think
it's not funny, but it.
I think like that's why the time period mattered to me so much too, because I was like trying to think like what, like in what time period would this kind of like library of all these texts be? Because I don't know, it just I was trying to think, because if it happened in modern day, there's no way that would be okay for people to just come in and say like and watch like a reading of these types of stories like all the time. It doesn't seem like.
I don't know. I feel like that's a thing. I
feel like you could find that.
Okay.
I feel like it's even more important back then though, because there's no internet or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That was at that point. That was when I looked up when it was set. Also, because I was kind of confused, and they also mentioned blackouts, and I was picturing that there wasn't light bulbs, and then there was a light bulb, and then I was like,
yeah,
"Oh my
god!" They said
God.
the house had access to electricity, so like when she first enters. No, but I had a general idea of what the time period was because I was like Japan and Korea. Oh, it's probably when Japan is taken all over all of Asia. But one of my favorite parts is right from the beginning. It's when it's like Japanese subtitles are in yellow.
Yeah.
Korean subtitles are in white.
I love that.
And I'm like, that's neat. That's cool.
That was neat. I know. I was kind of. Yeah, that was. Sorry, I just blanked out really thinking about it because I was
struck about the multi-language.
It feels like
subtitles.
it feels like they're getting ready for like a multi-language like experience. Like we're gonna set you in this.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, interesting. I'm gonna think about this later. I know I will, because I'm like, you made a point to mention that, because I feel like you could have just not. And it would.
I feel like it was a crucial part to the movie, though.
It was.
I feel like a lot of it is balancing between like what she speaks and what she doesn't speak.
Yeah.
And like the relationship between Japan and Korea, which can also be seen as like a life that someone like aspires to, even though they're like born into one society.
Yeah.
Because like the uncle really wanted to escape his Korean heritage.
Yeah.
And become Japanese. Yeah.
That was interesting.
Very interesting. But yeah, just from the beginning, just from like the first shot of the soldiers walking out with the kids chasing after them, it just like immediately puts you into like a world, like you immediately feel like there's war going on just from that shot, obviously. And when she's first sent off to the home, you don't know there's a con, so I was like, oh, she's being forced to go. And like I thought it was her sister, of course, at that point. She's like, why it should be me going to the, like, she wanted to sacrifice herself. But in reality, when you learn it's a con, it's like...
that's so funny. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Because she was...
I want the money. It's so funny.
It wasn't her being sad about her sister having to leave to go work for some Japanese lord. It was her wanting to be part of the con instead.
Bro,
I don't know. I feel like from the start, though, I was battling with myself, trying to think, like, wait, so is she upset, or is she, like... Is she upset in the fact that she wanted to sacrifice herself, or did she actually want to go? Like, I felt it from the beginning for some reason, like the tone of her voice and just the way it was. And so, like, I was just trying to...
I felt she didn't want to go from the beginning just because of the world around it. Just, like, if there's, like, a wartime and you're being sent to, like, someone from a different country who's occupying your country.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't think you would be the most willing to go to a situation like that.
Definitely not.
Yeah, but just mentioning like how Emma was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that."
Yeah, no, there's so many things. That's what
There's so many things, yeah.
again. I want to watch it again just to get the little details that I didn't notice because it's really cool. I didn't even notice that. That's hilarious. I love that. Now the sister is one of my favorite characters. No.
It's not even, I don't know what their relationship is. It's like a house of like thieves or whatever, like which I like how they come back. They come back to the rescue by the end.
Yeah,
Really
I love that too. Also, just like from the start when the Count guy comes in and he like unlocks the drawer and he just like takes out all this stuff too. That was so satisfying to me. I love that.
It felt like Ocean's 11. Yeah, that scene just felt like
yeah, he definitely seems like part of like the Ocean Squad.
I know, and then and I like how it kind of progressed from there because I kind of, you feel like, oh, so it's gonna be like, oh, kind of like Oceans, but it's not.
Kind of like Parasite.
It's like, I know exactly, but that was really cool. It went from conning and / like heist type of situation
to more conning.
Yeah,
but like a love story
love.
con. But for love. Conning for love instead of money.
Aww.
I love that.
Very metaphorical, very deep. But yeah, I like how the movie puts a lot of past things into perspective, and that's one of the strengths of the movie. It's like making you think back about what you just saw. Yeah, but fun. What were your thoughts on like the mystery building up in that first part? Because like because it's kind of like what is their goal here to like they're trying to trick the rich lady at that part of the movie.
Yeah, it was a little confusing, but I feel like it was intentionally confusing because you're kind of like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me the beginning was just a little bit confusing because I didn't know what the difference was between the Count and the uncle, and so like I was confused as to why the uncle was marrying the,
Yeah, the uncle wants to marry his
yeah, and I was like, this is niece. That's another thing with the time period. I was like, oh, is that normal too? So I wasn't sure. Yeah,
but it wasn't his niece because she was sent there. Oh wait, no, but that doesn't mean anything. Was it actually his niece, or was
I think it was.
Okay.
It was the person he like married into a family,
and
like that was the
Okay, yeah. Cool. Gotcha.
And the aunt, there's like two like older female characters that I still kind of get confused in the second part.
I feel that.
Yeah, but like it was kind of like both characters were kind of naive in a way at the beginning as well, because even though Suki's like doing the con, she's still like being flustered over Hideko. Gosh, I'm forgetting names, but it's still building a love story there at the same time. It kind of like plants the seed that maybe she won't go through with the con, instead she'll fall in love with the lady, which I felt was the first conflict in the movie for me.
And then when you figure out that she wasn't gonna go through it, because at first I was like, oh my gosh, she went through it, how dare she. I thought they had something going, and then they did. I love that. Because I agree, that was like the first conflict. Because you're just sitting there and you're just like, no, don't let her be with the Count. You want to be with her. Oh god, I got so invested into this movie.
Yeah, I think that part also, like when she starts slapping her and stuff too, that also reminded me of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, because it was just like, no, I have to, like, this is the expected thing that I'm supposed to do. I can't be with you if I want to be with you. Yeah, that's what I saw it as, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be like another one of those, kind of. But
but it was before Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I know, so. No, yeah. Not in my timeline.
Not in my timeline. I see time backwards, so whatever is newest is the first thing to do it.
Oh my god.
But speaking of backwards, let's skip over 2 now and let's go straight into 3, because we already talked about part 2. So part 3. So at that point of the movie, when it said part 3, I kind of got worried, because it's like, oh gosh, the movie's been so good to this point, and this third part could really make everything fall apart. But it was really good because of the Count character, I think, becoming like more of a villain, and then there's a new threat kind of in the film, and I found that really interesting. But your guys' thoughts?
Horrible person. I was so happy at the end. I was smiling while he was getting his fingers chopped off.
Oh my god!
Interesting. Okay, Emma. I feel like he was the lesser of 2 evils in that room with him and the uncle.
Well,
I found that cigarette scene to be amazing.
oh my god,
I
that
thought it
was
was
so cool. That was
When he-
insane.
The way it's set up earlier too, because you actually see him like take out that cigarette case, and you see those 2 blue cigarettes, and then
Yes.
he
I
doesn't
didn't
really
even
come
notice
up until he like smokes all 4 in the car, and then you see the last 2. It's really really well done, I think.
It was really cool. That was so cool. The last was just great. Isn't when does the second twist happen? Is that in part 2?
That's in part 2. That's in part 2.
Okay, cool. So yeah.
Yeah, that last scene for me though, it was also just really pretty to look at too. Just
Yeah.
like also okay, the part that struck out to me too was the part when he's looking over and he
which
sees
scene?
all the very last one. Or like when he's in the
Basement?
yeah, when he's in the basement with the guy. At
Oh,
some point when they're there, like just like the smoke in the air and stuff was really pretty to look at and stuff. And also the part that stuck out to me the most was when he looks over and he looks at all the jars. And
Oh
things.
yeah, the jars are.
That was and that was crazy. And like I don't know, I was looking at it and I was like, I'm not as disgusted as I should be because the shot was just so pretty, like what they were showing. I don't know, like the aesthetic was still nice. Yeah.
Did you guys suspect an octopus would be in the basement?
Yes.
I totally was like, "There's an
No.
octopus in that basement."
I did too.
There's
No
some
way.
tentacle
Literally.
stuff going on. Yeah,
Yeah,
there
that's
has to be tentacle stuff.
There had to, I knew it right away. Like when when she went in the basement, that was my
As a
first
child,
thought.
yeah, the
Yeah.
first time as a child, like you could hear like water splashing
Yeah.
around. I think.
And then
Yeah,
I
but
was
I
like,
didn't expect anything. Like I didn't know what it
Oh,
was.
I
I thought the octopus was just like a recurring thing that you would just see. Also, I have a question though. So like you know how there's the drawing of the octopus like on a woman in one of the books?
yes,
yeah.
tentacle.
Is that
porn.
supposed to be what the guy did to her mom? Or no, her aunt?
No, I think the aunt just killed herself, right? Like I think
Oh,
he
okay.
tortured the aunt in the basement, and then that's what led to her suicide.
I see.
Probably.
Okay.
I think the octopus
Okay.
in the book and then the octopus in the basement shows that the uncle is like really like trying to act out stuff in his novels.
Yeah, I was like, it just shows that he's really kinky.
Oh my God.
What he likes to do in his free time.
That's
Oh
so
my
gross.
god. That is really gross. I was, God.
The
No,
end,
what-
yeah, like when they're in the basement, he's like asking him about his wedding night and stuff too. I was like, "Stop, old man! You need to stop."
But that's
This
a
is
great.
where I
that was
draw
a
It is
great
a
scene
cool
though.
scene though,
When
yeah.
they go back to show the wedding scene, because that was the one part they hadn't
Yeah.
like shown yet. If they
It
actually had like,
was.
sex
I
between the
didn't
count and
know.
Hideko,
I
yeah,
know.
and revealing that she just like cut herself.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, really well done.
Okay, but you know what? One thing that bothers me though is like when people cut themselves just for the sake of like dropping a few drops of blood like on something. They always cut themselves across the palm, and I'm like, just cut your finger. That's stupid.
But
You
it's
know what I'm
like
saying?
metaphorical. Yeah, I guess you
No,
said.
it's like
But it
why?
looks cooler, Parvati. It looks cooler. It looks more badass,
Maybe
Oh,
they
alright?
wanted. Maybe because they really wanted more blood drops, because she wanted a bigger stain on the.
I guess.
Wait,
but now
hold
your
up. Why
hand's
did
gonna
she
be
even
bleeding
want a
the whole
stain
day.
if they were already in on? Oh wait, no.
No,
Yeah,
she didn't.
because-
know.
Because the count needs to think
Exactly.
that they're
Yeah.
still in the.
Oh, they're so smart.
the
I'm
layers
so proud
of
them.
the layers of manipulation. Oh my
They're
goodness.
so cool. I want to be their friends. Like they're amazing. On the boat when they threw the
Oh my
stuff
God,
in the
yeah.
water, I was like, yes,
That was great.
yes. And then it was so cool. I loved it. I was so happy.
God. Cool. Also, okay, I guess this ties into like more of like a theme, I guess. But like, I liked that ending part because it kind of reminded me about how, so she dresses up as like the guy and stuff, and it kind of reminded me of like how they kind of just like outsmarted all of the guys in this film too. And I think it's funny too because in similar movies that I have seen of this too, like The Favorite and Portrait of a Lady on Fire, they always show the men kind of being like overly like hyper masculine or like very really caring about that kind of stuff, and also just being really like snooty and thinking that they're smarter than the women and stuff too. But then the women in the end are like, no, I'm actually smarter than you are. And they like plan around them, and I think that like the ending part when they're on the boat, just like I don't know, it reiterated that for me because they're ultimately the ones that are going to be able to live the life they want, and I just that was amazing.
I know, that was really cool. I
Yeah.
love that. I was just rooting so hard at the end of the movie. I was just so excited. That it's just so cool, and it cuts between so many different like things. That was
Yeah.
really-
No,
I
like that
would-
last scene where they're escaping is really well done. And it's like the uncle throwing like one last wrench in, like no two ladies can leave together, and they already like thought of that, which is really
Yeah. Wait, I have. Oh no, actually, I guess it's not a question. That was just interesting. When he's like thinking back to them on the boat, and it does that weird like pause. It's like kind of a freeze frame in a way.
Oh yeah, that's like
Oh.
what are your thoughts on that?
I
I thought the movie
didn't-
would have ended right there. And I
Yeah.
would have been perfectly fine with
Um,
it. I'm gonna talk about nitpicks later.
I was kind of. I didn't like the way it looked.
I
but
didn't either.
It
I was like,
looked
this
like
is
it was
iMovie.
kind of broken. I thought my computer was messing up. If it was just a freeze frame, I would have been here for it. I love a good old freeze frame. Goodfellas, great movie.
Oh, Square says he loves his freeze frames.
He does, but it was a weird freeze frame.
Because it kind of
But
felt
also
like
his-
you're turning pages on a book.
Yeah, and
Like, this
his
is the
brain's
last
also
page.
slowing down because he's dying. So I guess it's like
It's like his last thoughts too. Yeah.
that's so
Right.
funny. Oh my gosh, imagine being him and just being like, they were fooling me.
They were fooling me this whole time.
That's
But I love
so-
his last line. One of the greatest lines before a character has ever died in the history of cinema, which is like, "At least I won't die with my cock intact."
Yeah,
Just-
that was really funny. I was like,
Can I
you
quote
know,
you on that, JJ?
I went like this. I
well,
went
you're quoting me quoting a film, so
true. You make a good argument, sir.
that is quite a way to die.
Yeah.
yeah.
But also, I was like, that's yeah.
Okay, but back to the boat scene. I really just love the moment where she puts her head on Suki.
I know.
That's why I thought like, oh, that's the last shot. Because that's such a good moment. I was like, my heart was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And it was like just a great way to end the movie. But it's not the end of the movie. Guys. There's one more scene. But let's talk about favorite scenes though. Let's
Scenes,
move
sure.
into segments.
I
Because we're
have
talking
my
about
favorite.
there's like a billion scenes. You have yours ready? You want to go?
Yeah, it's so cute when they're running away and like they both are like they have the
Aw.
plan. It's so beautifully shot too, like them running through that field, and then when she puts the suitcases up, it's so cute. It's just one of those. It made me so excited, and I knew that there was still like a lot of movie left, but I was so excited. It's what made me like so into
Wait, that
it.
scene kind of like happens twice, doesn't it? Right?
Well, it does, but the first part, they're not. It doesn't.
They don't show the
look-
suitcase, like whatever.
Well, no, but
part.
the way that they run, it does. They don't seem happy.
Like, oh yeah, they're not like together.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but in the
as much as
second
yours.
one, they're running together with the sun setting behind them, and it's beautiful, and like, oh, I'm so happy for them.
Can we talk about the music in that scene? That's when the
Oh,
score really comes
my
out. The music's
God.
great.
Oh,
That's
the
gorgeous.
music in the library when she's tearing all the things.
Mhm. Oh yes,
Beautiful
great.
music.
What,
I loved
that might be my scene right there. Is the
I love
library
that
destruction
too.
scene. Such
And
a
the-
great scene.
The way that they look at each other in that scene too is also incredible acting because they look like especially Hideko.
Hideko.
But she
Just go. Don't
looks
don't
so-
stutter on it.
in love and she's like, wow, someone actually like she cares so much, and it's like
Because it's
oh,
like the destruction of her abuse. Because like that
It
library is a
is.
representation of
And
her.
she's-
Like
I know, and she finally has like that one person, and it's just so cool. I love that scene.
I love like the eye contact thing too because it's like
Mm-hmm.
the entire film it makes it seem like Hideko has like no empathy for anyone in the entire thing
Mhm.
and that she just has cold eyes towards everyone and that's like a
Mhm.
thing that the Count always brings up too and stuff.
Yeah.
But then like the way that she looks at Suki
Yes.
like the whole time you can just see it, you know, you can just see there's such a difference and I just
No,
like the eye contact acting is just incredible. Like I
So
love
good.
it so much.
The
I
drive
felt
level?
their love. It was
Did you say Drive?
yeah, Drive and Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Those are the top
Yes.
two
Yeah.
acting films.
I agree.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
wait, I haven't seen Portrait. I can't say. I don't. But Drive, yeah.
There's some great
I
eye acting
advocate
in
for
Portrait.
It's amazing.
The
I-
glares, all
Yeah.
about the looks.
Oh.
But yeah, wait, can I just mention this about the music? As much as I love the score, and it's really good, it's better than the example I'm about to give, but it sounds almost similar to Twilight, to when I know have you guys seen Twilight?
No.
No.
Okay, well, but there's a part where it's like, yeah, the one guy on the podcast is the one who's seen Twilight. That's funny. But when Edward plays the piano in the first movie, and like she's hanging on him, and he's like, "My spider monkey." Yeah, that's a real line, by the way. That's a real line.
Oh.
The music sounds almost the same, so I thought it was like a classical piece that both movies were using, but it is, I think, unique to the film.
It kind of
does. They do sound different.
It kind of sounds like, you know, when the Downton Abbey movie was coming out, you know, the music they played in the trailer, it sounded like that.
Oh, it sounded
a little
like that.
bit.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen Downton Abbey, so I don't know if the actual what the score sounds like. But
I've only listened to the
like
Downton Abbey score. I don't know why.
You
Okay.
you have?
Does it sound familiar?
Does it sound similar?
Kind of.
I guess it was just me. I don't know.
I mean, it's a piano. Like, whenever you use like a piano, things are bound to sound similar. But
yeah,
it was just used so well because it's used at the moments that really matter. And it's really.
I know. Oh my god, I was so excited. It was great.
Parv, do you have some favorite scenes?
Oh, favorite scene.
Oh,
I think yeah, like the destroying like the books at the library actually, like the part specifically when they're kicking the books into the water and they pour all the ink all over it.
The ink.
Yeah,
That was so satisfying too.
It was.
I was like, that's awesome, and just I think
when she started, like,
yeah.
Oh my god! Wow. Sorry, I just am thinking about it. I'm really happy.
No, you're good. And I think also just just when you see her laughing for the second time outside of the mental health like place too, I just thought that was so cool. I think just like the reshoots, or not the reshoots, but like the different point of views when they're showing.
Oh yeah, the different perspectives.
Those coming too, like I think it was just most of those, like seeing them for the second time in the new context was my favorite scene, I guess.
I see.
I love that.
Yeah.
One of my favorites of those is when Suki's like at the window. So when you first see it from her perspective, it's like, oh, she's spying on them. Like, you don't really know if they see her or not. It's like, oh, the guy spots you later. But then when you watch it from their perspective, she's so freaking obvious, and it's the funniest thing.
She's not even facing.
And they're talking about like the most like the mundane thing. I think they're like, what? Why do guys like girls like this? Or they're just like messing with each other. And that was really funny to be just seeing that scene again.
I know, and then thinking about that, like, in juxtaposition with what Suki's, like, narration was in the beginning, too. Like, about, like, the way that the Count would, like, try to touch her or whatever, too, and she'd be like, no, you shouldn't do that, stuff like that she was super bothered by, but then in reality it wasn't a huge deal because it was all just a plan. And so it was just really funny to see that again.
I know, it was great. I loved this movie. I had a really great time.
I'm happy. I'm really happy about that now. I thought Emma didn't like it, guys.
What? Why? Why would you think that?
Why would you
not
think
like
that?
it?
Oh, because when we started the pod, she was like, "Gosh, I freaking hated this." No, I'm joking.
I would never. I love it so much. I'm so proud of them.
I'm very happy to hear that. I'll just talk about one more scene I really liked. It's in part 3. It's the hotel scene.
Yeah,
that's the most tense scene in the movie for me. The one where she has to get him to drink the opium.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Sip from his drink. So, but he wants to have sex with her.
She's so smart. She's so smart. I was watching that and I was like, well, damn, how is she gonna get him to drink it?
How is she gonna get him to drink?
And then she did that, and I was like, yes. Turn it into something sexual. That's smart. I was very like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? I'm very nervous, but it was
that was the most tense scene for me.
It was, yeah.
I think it was the most tense for me because of the timing of everything happening too.
Yeah,
I was like, when's it gonna? And then she keeps looking back at her clock too.
I was afraid it wasn't gonna happen in time, and I was scared for her. But she's good.
The scene has a great aftermath too, with the Count waking up without his pants on, and the two freaking uncle's men are just like laughing at him.
The way he's like lounging is hilarious.
He's like, "Can you get me those pants over there?"
Oh, it's so funny. That was really hilarious.
Yeah, there's actually great moments of comedy in the movie. Like if we talk about the rope scene, the twist scene has it ends on a note of comedy.
It does.
She drops her.
Does. I didn't expect that. like, oh. I'm like, oh my god.
She got really angry and she just started choking on.
I know.
Oh my god.
Well, no, she wasn't
Gallows
angry at
humor.
her. She was angry.
She was
at
angry at her like
Yeah.
count, yeah.
But that was just hilarious. There's just honestly, and it's kind of like unintentional but intentional comedy, you know, where it
Yeah.
doesn't feel
Mhm.
forced and it doesn't go like, oh, this is a joke, laugh. It's just situational comedy
Mhm.
where you're just like, look at this dude, he's silly. The way he's lying down. My favorite quote, well, actually the uncle has a lot of great quotes, but my favorite, let me see, I wrote it down because it made me laugh so much and I sent it to my friend out of context. I'm just an old man who likes dirty stories. That was hilarious and it was so random. It was
We should
one-
have a favorite line segment.
There's a lot,
Actually,
though. That's so hard.
off of that line, I was just thinking about how like when they were showing like the backstory about her childhood and stuff, literally the books that they show her to learn how to read are those books too.
I know.
Mhm.
It's like
It's
that's
sad.
crazy.
It's
That's
really
why she was
depressing.
reading about, she was reading about
It's
penis
horrible.
and vagina. They chuckled and then he freaking like
do.
grabbed their faces.
Oh my god.
The
I know.
uncle looked terrifying. I loved how like
He
they
did.
used the ink like on his tongue and it just makes him
Oh,
look
Oh
God.
yeah.
That was gross. I was like, sir, do you
I
realize?
think at some
Sir.
point they call him a snake too.
They do, yeah. And I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
I was
very
like, yeah,
cool.
Him.
yeah.
He is a snake. He is the snake. And then that's why they bash the fake one, but it's like them.
Also,
bashing
I have a
him.
question.
Mhm.
The people that are coming to listen to the stories, are they supposed to be there as bachelors, or is it just like a
No,
session?
they're there
No.
to purchase the books.
The books? Okay.
Yeah.
So they listen to the book being read and then they sell the books afterwards.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
which is gross.
No, so like it's like the uncle is also in it for money. So like anyone in it for money ends up not doing very well at the end.
'Cause if
Right,
you're in it for love, you will succeed.
Oh, okay.
Exactly,
I
yes.
have a question about a scene then. Well, how did you guys feel about the part where it's like at the end of her reading, but there's that picture was torn out, so then they have her demonstrate it in real life with like
Oh,
the
yes.
wooden mannequin. How did you guys feel
Great
about that?
scene. Great frickin' scene. What do you mean? How do I feel about it?
I don't know.
Because
Like, I don't know.
it's kind of random, but it kind of makes
is
sense,
random.
and at the same time, it's very surreal. At the same time, but it also shows the extent of her like, because it's like, how can she be tired just reading all the time? But she's actually being exploited.
That made me
Yeah.
sad.
Right.
So bad. But it's okay, because then they got their love life and it's great and happy. And I'll have happy dreams tonight of
Aw.
just...
Yeah, but we didn't really talk about how dark the movie is, though.
Oh yeah.
There is some dark content.
It's really dark. It's super dark. But I feel like it's, you can talk about that. But let's just talk about how amazing it is, the ending.
It's the right amount of messed up to be just as satisfying
Yeah.
at the end when
I think
everything
so,
comes
too.
together.
I feel that. Agreed.
All right, should we talk about things we didn't like?
Sure.
I don't know if I have any.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay, I'm happy about that. I recommended a movie that Emma liked everything in it.
Yeah, well,
Yay.
yeah, no, I mean... Oh, that's not true. I already pointed out that the freeze frame, I did not like that. That's
Oh,
the
the
only
freeze
thing I
frame.
didn't like. The freeze frame was weird. But that's my
I also
only
didn't like
complaint.
I think the movie takes a lot of super stylistic choices because like
Yeah.
some of the camera work, sometimes it just doesn't work because it's too erratic in the way it's edited for me. It's not as
Sorry, I just
precise as
remembered a
something
moment
as like.
I really liked.
No, I like it too, and I was about to get into like
Yeah.
my point, but it didn't feel as like precise as something like Bong Joon-ho in Parasite to me.
Mhm.
But at the same time, there were parts where like the experimentation worked. Like there's some shots that were so like technically impressive, the way the camera moved.
Very true.
One of my favorites is when Suki meets with the Count in his room for like in the beginning of the movie,
Mhm.
and the other servant was trying to eavesdrop on them.
Yeah.
So the camera starts off on the Count, and then it pans out.
Yes.
And then you see Suki, and then they're still like blocked in a way where you see him, the mirror, and her perfectly
Yeah.
aligned, and then it cuts to a wide on the other side, which is sometimes jarring, but
Yeah.
it's still like lined up in a way that's super satisfying to
Yes.
look at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just there's stuff like that sprinkled throughout the movie,
Very true.
and it's very well done. It gives it a sense of style that a lot of like American movies don't have.
True.
It's very
Facts.
refreshing to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. I loved I can't exactly remember when, but it was probably an act, I think, maybe. But when it was blurry on her face in that one shot, and then it faded into the other shot,
into her as a
and it
child.
combined. Yeah, and then
yeah.
and then it focused on her. That was really cool. I don't remember the context, but I remember watching it and going, "Ooh,
Yeah,
yes!"
it was her in the basement, and then that shot was
Yes,
blurry, and
exactly.
then when she was
Okay,
an
yes.
adult,
Yes.
It
it's
reminded
almost like
me
she's
a lot.
suppressing the memory.
She is, and that's so
Oh.
depressing.
Actually, but did you say suppressing the memory?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Actually, that scene reminds me of there's a part in The Graduate. Have you guys seen The Graduate?
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
No, I have not seen The Graduate. I haven't done my film history course.
There's a part in The Graduate that we watched in a film class, and the way that our professor explained it was it's like similar, where it's like you see the person's face, but it doesn't focus until like later.
I know
like
what
it's a slow
scene you're
focus.
talking about.
Yeah, and it's because the person is coming to a realization after being like the
I love
memory
that
is, like
scene.
blurry, but then they're coming to a realization. So when they're in focus, they've like realized it, and so like that's why it worked for me. Oh
Yeah, I love that scene. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about. I can see it right now. I can see it anyways.
yeah.
But, yeah. So what did you not like about it, JJ?
I mean, that's one of the aspects. But just to talk about that just a little bit, it kind of reminds me of the house, like the set. It's messy, you know, like it doesn't make much sense putting like a Japanese style architecture next to this Western style, and then it has all these twists and turns. But in the end, the whole place is beautiful, and I think it's like a representation of the whole film. It's like kind of messy when you like assemble it like this, putting a story on top of a story, all these jarring camera movements and plot twists. But in the end, the entire thing is like, it's great, and I want to walk through it all, and I want to discover all the secrets that this place has. And I found the house to be a perfect representation of the film.
That's such a cool way to put it. I love that.
Yeah.
That's really
Like,
cool.
It's like messy, but it's clean at the same time. I like that.
It's
It
messy.
is a very interesting house to live in.
Yeah.
That was That's
I know,
really-
like she describes the house as being really like miserable, and there's not a lot of light that comes in and stuff too. But it's still a really gorgeous house.
It was really pretty.
It's because she like stayed in like the western part, I think, and like just outside was like a Japanese hallway, so it was kind of, I think, jarring to her in a way.
Yeah.
But also, I think she was scared of it because like she thinks ghosts and whatnot, and she's been traumatized and gaslit to live there. Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
thinking about her backstory is really like heartbreaking. Still, but
It
it's
is.
okay.
It is.
It made
I'm
for
so
a good
happy for
movie.
I know.
No,
I
it's a
felt
necessary
so-
backstory to explain like her character and her motivations, and it was well done.
Very true. Very true. I know. It's crazy how attached I got to the characters in it. I feel like that it does happen a lot for me because that's what I do when I watch a movie. But to this extent, I don't think there's very few movies where I've watched it and have fully like felt for the characters so much, and I was so like empathetic towards everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I have to talk about the last scene in the movie, and we haven't talked about the eroticism of the movie. Like the whole sexual aspect is such a big part of the movie,
Yeah.
and I think it works well as an erotic film, quote unquote. I made quote marks in the air because I mean, just the first part, just setting up the romance, was very like sexy in a way, if I can say that.
Yeah.
But just the way the characters would look at each other, and the bathtub scene was a great scene, and they come back to it later to show like
That's true.
Hideko's perspective of it.
Yeah.
And that shows when she was actually being attracted to Suki. I thought that was very well done. But like, okay, the last scene. We talked about her childhood and the abuse, and I guess the last scene does kind of what's the word, like redeem her, because like the uncle makes her like the bells, makes her put it in her mouth and then like slaps her with it.
Yeah.
And makes her think that the taste is like punishment, but at the end they kind of like redeem that taste.
Yeah, exactly.
By doing some sexual acts with
Yeah,
the
she's
bells.
taking her shitty childhood and she's making it into like, her own. Like that's all I feel like that was like the moment where it's like, oh,
I felt like that
behind
scene.
me.
Okay, that's my problem with I felt like that wasn't needed because I felt like that scene already happened with the library, with the literal destruction of like the trauma
I
causing
don't
her
know.
there.
I liked the recall of the symbol, like the symbolicness of it too. I
Mhm.
was like, for a second, I was
agree.
like, are they using the same stuff that like the uncle was using too? And I was like, oh my god, that's so.
It is the same stuff, isn't it?
Oh no,
it's
it's
different.
different.
It's different. But
different?
the thing
Okay.
is, I think the fact that it's different also matters too because it's like their own version of what they want it to be
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so like
Okay.
they're taking all of it, they're not entirely forgetting it, they're just turning it into something that they can actually make something good out of it, which I
Yeah.
think is great because she was like destined for this like horrible life basically afterwards, but she was able to like transform it all by like being smart about everything that she did too. So I think that last scene was also one of my favorites. Actually, I should have mentioned that, but I think it just like
it just
seeing
felt
that
unnecessary to me, and that's why it's like a
Oh.
nitpick.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I felt like there's nothing else to show after she puts her head on her shoulder. And it felt kind of like exploitative. I can't say the word. Does that make sense?
I get it. I understand because I feel like I felt like so there is a lot of sex in this movie too, and some of it felt very voyeuristic to me. So some of it made me a little bit uncomfortable in the way that it was shot, maybe. But some of it felt also very like personal and very like this is like strong intimacy that was required, and so like I can see where that might fall more into like the voyeuristic kind of view for me too.
Yeah.
But I still felt like the symbolism of in the end still made sense to me. That's why it was required to it too.
I agree with that.
Okay, I can see that. No, it's because I thought they like already escaped. It's because it felt like they were trapped in their own erotic novel to me. Does that make sense? Like they were the characters in an erotic novel, and by the end, it's like they escape past it. But at the end, it's like another scene of like whatever sex, and it's like a scene that the old men would like. The scene that the old men was, they'd be like, "Yeah, we got one more scene."
No.
That's what I was like. So I was kind of like frustrated watching that scene for the first time, but seeing the symbolism with the bells kind of helps it a bit more. But I still could have done without that scene. Sorry,
Also,
go ahead. That's it. That's my problem with the movie. Just that
no.
last scene.
Okay.
Yeah. But earlier on, she was saying like, she was talking about boats on the ocean, and she was like mentioning,
They were already on a boat.
I know, but this was their boat. This was their they're away from this. This is them.
I see.
This is their story. So I was like, oh wow, they finally made it onto that boat. Like she's broken away from that horrible life that she had in the past, and now she's creating her own with someone that she loves. And I was excited.
Ooh, actually, that makes me think about how like we said it before about how there's a lot of like reference to previous things that happen in the movie itself too, and I think it just shows kind of like how the references like and the recalls of things happening within the movie are kind of like weaponized by Hideko to like free herself too, because one of the scenes is the hotel scene when she's with the count and stuff too, right? Where she's trying to make him drink the opium, I believe, and she like he at first says like no, that those aren't the eyes of someone who like actually wants to do this, but then she says a line from one of the stories that she read.
Yeah, and then I feel like because he was hooked on that story is what she was reading when he first came up, and he that's when he became attracted to her.
Exactly, and then that's what turned the situation around, so she was able to like weaponize that on her too, which I think is just amazing because that's just one of the examples of like ways that she uses that recall to like bring it back. Stuff too.
No,
I thought the reading scenes were great because it showed like all the guys putting themselves in the story, essentially.
Yeah,
those. It makes you uncomfortable, but I just it was funny.
It was interesting.
And it was really well done.
Funny. It was really funny.
It was funny and really well done.
I think it's not for everyone though, but it's very. Yeah. I think that I found it like funny enough to be able to see it.
Okay, this is also why I like. I wouldn't. As much as we would love to show this movie to other people, it's not when I would like to be in the room with them when they watch it.
That's a good point. I feel like I was gonna say earlier, the movie has a really good balance between like those really like intense kind of like disturbing scenes, but also making them kind of hilarious in a certain way. Like some of them are really funny, and I like that it had that balance because it didn't feel as dense. You know,
right?
But it was still pretty dense.
True.
Here's a piece of trivia that hopefully makes the sex scenes more bearable. But it is a male director, so it is kind of like there is that sort of like uncomfortableness, like to see him like directing, but he did have all the male crew leave the room for those scenes and only had
that's really
female.
cool.
That's great.
That's really cool. I respect that.
But I always think about this. It's a Letterboxd review. It's like if they're scissoring, you know, a male director did it, which is really funny to me.
That's what I thought when I had that exact thought when I was watching it.
I'm like, a woman did not, but there is a female writer, I will say.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Yes.
That's cool.
Anyways, yeah. But yeah.
Anyways, let's just talk about performances. Let's end with favorite performance. I'll go with Lady Hideko. I'll just say it before anyone else does. Because she plays two characters in the movie.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and to see her become like an abused, like naive child, even though that's not her acting, but just the character.
Yeah.
A more strong like person who's willing to run away from something she feared, which was like the basement and her uncle. It was really well done. It
was so good. And like we were talking before, her eyes, she's just so good at acting.
Dude.
Her eyes.
Acting, dude. The Ryan Gosling School of Acting.
100% on.
I feel like that's such a difficult.
Fantastic.
I feel like that's such a difficult thing to do too, because it's like your face can be saying something different, but your eyes will actually determine what you're actually saying in all of it too. So I feel like that's really challenging, like as an actor too, to be able to like isolate that and like really focus on that to be the main like conveyor of what your message actually is to the other actors and things too. I thought she did like best out of all of them too, because she has she has to switch between like seeming naive and like kind of indifferent to people to being like in love and knowing exactly what she's doing versus like the other characters kind of have a set mindset of what they're doing. So like Suki's always going to be like the kind of more naive, like she only has one
like she is
way
naturally
of
naive. Yeah,
and then the Count and stuff, he's always going to be like the cunning one that has like a plan in the back of his head kind of thing too. Like regardless of which context it's in, he's always trying to deceive someone. But like with Hideko's like duality of like different things that she bounces between too, you're really able to see it by like the way that she's acting.
Very true.
I feel like we could do a challenge where it's like you do a screen cap and you try to guess which part of the movie it's in, like based off of the way she's like acting, kind of. I feel like we could do that.
Oh, you think it's like that? Well, yeah, I feel like it is that good. Like you can tell just by her face, like how much she knows and how much she's pretending not to know in a way.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Definitely.
So we're just all gonna agree with her on favorite performance.
Well, I mean, she just is so. I feel like all the other performances are really.
Yeah, all
great
the other
too.
performances are great. It's
like we're not saying that they're not good.
Yeah. Can I give a shout out to stuttering con man guy who's part of the con group? Do y'all remember him? Like he struggles to speak.
Oh, yeah.
But at the mental hospital, he's the one who screams out to everyone to leave, even though he stutters a bit. He's still the one who's like, "Everyone, leave!"
It was so cute. Oh,
so cute.
I know. I definitely so good. Oh,
just a well acted everything movie for me.
I know.
Just really well done. Do you guys want to just will you score this on Letterboxd, and what will your scores be?
Ooh, I will score it on Letterboxd and give it a solid 4.5.
I was gonna do that too.
What's the 0.5? Is it the freeze frame that takes out
freeze
the 0.5?
I think so.
that one freeze frame takes out the 0.5.
No, I kind of, when you watch a movie and you just know it's a 5, I didn't get that feeling.
Interesting. Okay, that makes
sense. But I liked it a lot. Like my 4.5 rating is a lot. Like I really enjoyed the movie. It's a movie I would watch again multiple times in my life. But it just
sometimes a movie has to earn a 5 with multiple
exactly.
watches,
and I feel like it could earn a 5. We'll see in the future. I don't know.
If I could give it a 4.8, I would give it a 4.8.
Same. Yeah, I feel that.
Because I feel like 0.5 is a little bit too much of a dock just for the freeze frame too, but it's okay.
You guys hate the freeze frame so just like I love the image of her putting her head.
No, I do too. It's just
I know, but I think the part that bothers me. I think the part that bothers me is the fact that it's like a reverse, and then it's just him being blurry, like on the boat too. And I was like, "Am I supposed to see something?" Because I don't see anything besides like a bad shot. Like I didn't like it.
They're looking and they're seeing their life. Why am I defending the scene?
I also thought like some of the
felt it could
actual
have been
boat
moving,
scenes felt artificial. But
what? I didn't feel that. Oh wait,
Like
the
the
actual
ocean,
boats?
like
Oh,
the
okay, I did
ocean.
feel that.
Yeah,
I thought you meant like the rowing, and I was like, no, it looked pretty believable.
no, it looked pretty believable. Yeah, no, it's the
No, the boats. I
big
feel that.
boats. Yeah,
Yeah, the big boats.
But I felt like all their production budget went into other sets, which was perfectly fine because every
Yeah.
set is like beautiful. Like shout out to
yes.
the mental hospital for being completely
Oh.
gray on the outside, even though they're wearing all these colorful outfits.
I know.
Oh, the outfits,
yeah.
dude!
Oh
the
yeah, I was gonna
costumes.
say the
outfits!
costumes are
Oh!
great. They're
Woo!
great.
Solid. 10 out of 10. Beautiful. I loved it. It was so good.
All right, any
I know
other
because I feel like
thoughts?
the
Okay.
clothes are also really important. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, it's good. I gave a thumbs up to part.
Okay.
To everyone.
I feel like the clothes are also just really important too because they're supposed to like symbolize her wealth and like the materialistic gain that she's supposed to be getting later on too. So I feel like that it's really essential that the clothing was like appealing as well too.
Mm-hmm. I like
Yeah.
the fake mustache. That was a good touch. Just kidding. I'm sorry.
I like the scene where they're making her fake passport. That was a
I
really
know, that was
Well,
cool.
me too.
And then it brought it back to the Ocean's 11 type of movie.
Oh,
No,
I see.
I'm just kidding. But it kind of did, but in a good way. I liked it. I don't know what I'm talking about.